Welcome to the Leadership Art Podcast. I'm your host, Art Robbins, and it's great to have you join us. Those of you who have been following our podcast know that I'm a lover of history and art. By the way, that's not why my name is Art. That's just a coincidence. But in a past episode, we took a trip to Milan, Italy to explore Leonardo's inner genius. Today, I want to explore a different form of genius, some 200 miles away in Florence, Italy, to the Galleria dell'Accademia, where a 17-foot block of marble has been stopping people in their tracks for more than 500 years. The David. I've had the privilege of seeing Michelangelo's David in person. And if you have ever stood in front of it, you know the feeling. It's not just impressive, it is perfect, absolutely perfect. It's almost impossible to believe that a human being made it. The detail of the hands, the tension in the shoulders, the expression on his face, focused, determined, unafraid, his unwavering faith, all capturing the moment just before he faces Goliath. His spirit and his body does not look carved, it looks revealed. And that word, revealed, is the key to what I want to talk about today. This was the block no one else wanted. And here is something most people do not know about the David. Michelangelo was not the first sculptor commissioned to create it. The block of marble had been sitting in a cathedral workyard in Florence for 25 years before Michelangelo ever touched it. Two previous sculptors had already attempted to work with it and abandoned the project. They declared the block damaged, awkward in its proportions, unusable. The marble was considered a lost cause. Michelangelo looked at the same block and saw the David inside it. When he was asked how he created the statue, he reportedly said, "I simply removed everything that was not David." The statue was already there. He just revealed it. Now, I want to be honest with you. That quote has been widely circulated. You may have heard it before, but I want to apply it in a way that I suspect you have not considered, to what leaders do to the people and organizations around them. Most of our thinking about leadership development, about building great teams, about growing great organizations, is additive. We think about what we need to add. What skills does this person need to acquire? What capabilities does this team need to develop? What new initiatives do we need to launch? Michelangelo's approach asks the opposite question. What is already here? What is already present in this person, this team, or this organization that has not yet been given the conditions to emerge? And what is in the way? That shift from addition to revelation changes everything about how you lead. Think about what Steve Jobs did when he returned to Apple in 1997. Apple was weeks away from bankruptcy. The conventional wisdom was that the company needed everything new. New products, new technology, new strategy. And yes, some of that happened. But the first thing Jobs did was not add, it was subtract. He cut the product line from over 300 products to 10. He eliminated everything that was not core Apple. He looked at a damaged organization and asked, what is the essential thing here? What is the David in this marble? The answer was design, simplicity, and the belief that technology should be beautiful and human. That had always been in Apple. It had just been buried under 20 years of accumulated complexity and compromise. Jobs did not build a new Apple. He revealed the one that was already there. Another example is Alan Mulally at Ford. When Alan Mulally arrived as CEO of Ford in 2006, the company was losing billions. The instinct of most turnaround leaders would have been to add new models, new markets, new partnerships. Mullaley's most important move was to subtract. He sold off Jaguar, Land Rover, Aston Martin, and Volvo. He eliminated almost every brand that was not Ford. And he asked, what is the engine of Ford? The answer was the Ford brand itself. American, durable, transportation for working people. Everything else was excess marble. Ford was the only major American automaker that did not take a government bailout. Mullally had the discipline to reveal what was essential to the company. Now let me bring this closer to home. Think about the last time you had a development conversation with someone on your team. Chances are you approached it additively. What does this person need to work on? What skills are they missing? What if you approached it the way Michelangelo approached the marble? I think about a leader I advised early in my career, a very talented woman, constantly passed over for promotion in a large organization. Every performance review said the same things. She needed to be more assertive, more selling, more visible, more. But when I sat with her and actually listened, not to the reviews, but to her, something different emerged. The organization had a single templated leadership track. To advance, you had to build a book of business, sell aggressively, and compete with your colleagues to climb a rigid hierarchical ladder. None of that played to her strengths. In fact, the template actively ignored them. She was one of the most precise, rigorous, detail-oriented thinkers in the company. She caught things everyone else missed. She saw the flaw in the strategy before anyone else. She was too good at something the organization did not count as leadership. So instead of trying to reshape her into the template, we did something different. We looked at what the organization actually needed, and it turned out there was a genuine gap. Project excellence and quality assurance were functions the organization relied on, but had never properly built out or recognized at a leadership level. She was precisely the person to build and lead them. So we created that role, and we defined a new career track around it with real advancement, real compensation, and real organizational standing. Not a consolation prize, a legitimate path that said, this kind of excellence matters here, and we are going to build a home for it. She thrived immediately and stayed. The David was already in the marble. We had just spent years trying to carve it into something it was not, and the organization was stronger for finally seeing what had been there all along. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying additive is bad. We all need to improve our skills to adapt to the times, especially now with all the changes in tech and AI. But additive by itself is an incomplete answer. Carving away the unnecessary, the excess, is as, if not more essential, in order to reveal the best in a person. Now, there's a harder application of this principle that I want to leave you with. Sometimes the excess marble is you. The habits, the assumptions, the ways of leading that made you successful at one stage of your career can become the material that is preventing the next version of your leadership from emerging. The things you are holding on to, the need to be in every decision, the reluctance to delegate fully, the identity that is tied to being the smartest person in the room. Those are not strengths that need to be preserved. They are the excess marble that needs to come off. The greatest leaders I have observed are not the ones who only keep adding to themselves. They are the ones who have the discipline and the self-awareness to remove what was no longer serving them, and the courage to trust what was revealed when they did. So here's my challenge for you. Before you think about what you need to add to your leadership, ask your team or your organization to pause. Ask the Michelangelo question first. What is already here that I have not yet had the discipline or the courage to reveal? The David may already be in the marble. Your job is to reveal it. Well, that's it for now. Thank you again to our listeners and followers for your continued support. And until the next episode of the Leadership Art Podcast, this is your host, Art Robbins. And remember, it's your lead.